Previously at the Bluestone Villa.
The last time our house is going to look like this.
I'm going to take you back in time to Thursday the 11th of March now, which was the day that we had the scaffolding put up. As you'll be able to see, the render out the front here is really tatty, and there are also a number of cracks. That means the render has blown from the wall and is allowing rainwater to get underneath the render, hence the work we're undertaking. The job has begun. Well, 140-year-old render is currently coming off of the front of our house. I didn't actually know this about these types of Victorian houses, but I think most, if not all of them, would originally have had this kind of, we called them Victorian pencil line. Welcome back to the Bluestone Villa. I can't believe that I'm only speaking to you kind of for the first time now. I think in the last video I would have done a bit of a quick catch up as to why I've kind of not been around. But yeah, we are halfway through our external renovation process, and it's very, oh, there's my toast. Yeah, so it's very exciting. We have now our kind of painter decorator here working on the outside. So he started last week. He did about 3.5 days last week, and he's been here every day this week. The weather has not been on our side. If you've been in the UK, you will know what I mean. But yeah, he has been up on that scaffold all but Friday. He was up until about lunchtime, and then he was like, I'm actually going to get blown off of this, so I'm just gonna go home. And he's basically been doing prep work mostly. So he's stripped some of our detail, he's been sanding down lots of our like concrete kind of windowsills, which has been amazing. Essentially, where there are some cracks in that, when you sand it, they really just, the crack comes apart. So he's like filled all of that and made it look really smart. And he actually yesterday put the first bit of paint on the house, basically the white on all the detailing, and then otherwise he has just been doing, also he's also put on stabilizer on the front of the house. So basically when you have new render put up, it's good to do that to, I guess, ensure that the paint doesn't get soaked into the render, and also that, I don't know, that it sticks properly and all of that jazz. So yeah, so that is what is happening. Happy Saturday, it's the next day. I have taken a little bit of footage from yesterday. The blue was about to start going on the house yesterday, which was meant to be super exciting. It didn't quite work out that way. We've had a bit of a catastrophe with the paint colour, shock horror. So we've had to stop play on the painting front. Which is a bit of a shame, but never mind, we've got a solution, and I will kind of show you a bit more on that a bit later, and also kind of explain what's happened properly. We've got some new paint coming next week now, and our painter is actually going to come on Bank Holiday Monday, so this Monday, to do some other bits. Essentially we're going to have to strip the paint all down the side of the house as well, which is not something that we had forecasted for or kind of knew that we would have to do. And again, I'll go into a bit more detail on kind of everything that's going on with the outside shortly. But first of all, it is Saturday, it's the 29th of May, and a shop that I've been dying to go to for absolutely ages. It's a homeware shop near us in a place called Kingdom Pen in Penshurst. It's called the Hidden Hut. She's only open for certain months of the year. And yeah, she's reopening today, and every time she reopens I'm like, I have to go, and then it doesn't happen, and she closes again for the season, and then she reopens again before Christmas, and then it's like, I have to go, and yeah, I don't go. So I've been wanting to go there for like 2 years, and today is the day. I was planning to go at some point this weekend, but I shared her shop on my Instagram yesterday, and she actually messaged me to say she would recommend coming today, the first day, because she can sell out really quickly, particularly when she reopens. So that's where we're headed to now. We're gonna go get a nice coffee there. It's a really lovely place. I've not been to it before, but it looks absolutely gorgeous. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, kind of, amongst the trees. It's a beautiful wood, kind of rustic style building, and I think they do things like yoga there and what have you as well. And I think you can bike ride around the area and We are not bike riding today, but you can do that, I think. And they've got like a restaurant and cafe, and I think like a little deli place or something there. And then there's this shop, the Hidden Hut. So that's where I'm heading today. I'm not looking for anything in particular. I just literally want to have a mooch and hopefully pick up a few things. Yesterday was payday, which is always a good day. So yeah, I will try and show you around the shop a little bit, but I'm so excited. I've also got a bunch of things that I've bought for the house of late that I'm going to share with you as well in this video. So like lots of different things I bought for around the house as well. So I'll run through those and unbox some of those as well. You're an idiot. Oh yeah, mask. So we have just left Kingdom, which was so nice, and even James really enjoyed it despite his disgruntledness before we left. It was absolutely beautiful, and I finally made it to the Hidden Hut. She had so many beautiful things. She had this huge chopping board that was kind of used as like more like a grazing board. It was about, I think it was £135, wasn't it, James? Yeah. So on the pricier side for a large, I mean, it was beautiful wood, but not something, you know, that we desperately need today. I think I would consider getting something like that though, for like entertaining. It was so nice. But I just bought some candlesticks, just some cream ones, and then she had two really lovely kind of like light blush kind of rose pink kind of ones. And I got this beautiful box of matches that would just look really lovely like on the side in the living room or something. And then also I got some linen water. She had these beautiful bath oils, a rose one which had like roses in it as well, and I am actually almost finished on my Jo Malone rose bath oil, but it was £28, and I just didn't feel like it was something I had to buy today, and I'm sure James would have had certain thoughts about me purchasing that right now when we've got bigger fish to fry at the house. So yeah, really lovely. And she was saying how quiet it was up there, because I think we expected it to be busier, and she had definitely messaged to say that she usually sells out on the first day that she reopens. So yeah, really chuffed that it was kind of nice and peaceful, and that I managed to pick up a few bits and pieces. Drive. What are we going to the garden centre for again?
I want to get some lawn dressing if they have it.
Was a successful little trip to the garden centre. We went for just some turf stuff, soil things, and we've ended up actually purchasing a lovely arch that we've been on the hunt for. I don't know if, oh actually no, you can't see it in the back because it's in the boot, but yeah. So I'll show you that when I get back, and I've got some lovely new gardening gloves.
I actually think it'll be ideal. I think it's smaller than I thought it would be.
Well, that's good. This is the arch that we've got.
Huh?
I'm just talking to this. Shut your face. And then that's going to go there at the end of this little path.
Can't get over how lovely the weather is after what can only be described as a washout. The instructions are crap apparently. This is our new arch that we've put up. So the plan is to grow some climbing roses either side and have that grow up. Last of our bluebells. We've cut down this bay tree into a lollipop to allow for the painting that we've got happening, hopefully, from next week.
Hi guys, so I'm a little bit after the moment from when you last saw. So if you've caught up with some of my other videos, you'll know that I've mentioned that I went through a bit of a weird phase where I had lots going on and I was kind of picking up the camera and filming some stuff and then putting it down again, and there was sometimes not a cohesive narrative to the filming. But it was all stuff I wanted to share still because it kind of documented our external house renovation process. So I've stuck with it, and I'm hoping that you're going to stick with me. I think there's only one more kind of, we don't really know what that's going to look like, video to come from that kind of period of time, and then everything else going forwards should be kind of just normal renovation vlogs, homeware hauls. I have some other kind of lifestyle content coming up, creating a beautiful life for yourself in your home, and kind of a lot of seasonal content loops into that as well. As I promised, I told you that I would share obviously what happened with us buying the wrong paint. So I hope you're sat comfortably. We're going to have a quick chat through that, what happened with that, why it happened, what you can learn from it if you're thinking of painting the outside of your house anytime soon, and kind of obviously how we resolve the situation. And then I will run through all the different beautiful little independent store home finds that I've been picking up quite a while ago now, but I'm pretty sure you can probably still get all of these things. So what happened with the paint? Well, I think it was a Thursday, perhaps. It was obviously at the end of the week of which you've seen all the previous footage from, so it was kind of a couple of days before some of that footage was taken. I think it was the Thursday, and we were really excited because we were about to have the paint go on the front of our house. So I mentioned in my last video that Tony had way more kind of prep work to do on the outside of our house than he or we had anticipated, and he had been doing that for almost 2 weeks. There was still actually a hell of a lot more prep work still to go, but ultimately, if you're doing a renovation, you'll know how this feels. Prep work is the absolute worst, and even for professionals, it's the absolute worst. And I think Tony was just kind of a little bit sick of tackling that stuff. And obviously the front of the house was the bit that had already been kind of done specially for this entire project prior to him joining us here. So he had a little bit of prep to do out front, so he had to stabilize the front render to obviously ensure, I think, that the paint sticks to it okay and everything. So he'd done that, and he'd obviously prepped kind of the stone or whatever it is, kind of window sills that I touched on before, and he'd painted those. But now it was time that he could actually put some of our beautiful colour matched Farrow & Ball Dix Blue paint on the front of the house. And yeah, it was going to be an exciting day. So he hoped to get, essentially by the end of the week, done kind of a couple of coats on the front of our house with our selected paint. So the day comes, it's Thursday afternoon, and he's finally putting some paint on, and I have just come off of a work call and I get a knock at the front door. So I answered it, and Tony said, "Oh, I think you'll want to come out and see this." So I went out, and he basically painted like the top third of our house, so essentially down to the bottom of the sash window that's on the very top floor of the room that James and I are currently sleeping in until we finally move into our bedroom on the middle floor. And I can't tell you how disappointed I was. My heart sank. I was just so underwhelmed and really disappointed and really nervous with how the colour had turned out. It looked a lot darker and yet also not a lot darker. It was one of those weird things where I knew it didn't look right, but equally I was thinking, is it that, or is it just that I'm not used to seeing it on such a large piece of the house? And we'd done really big swatches when we tested the paint, and I didn't know what to do or say because I didn't want to kind of create a problem. I hate confrontation with stuff like that, and I didn't want to annoy Tony, and I really didn't want to annoy James. So I just kind of tried to keep myself like just relatively diplomatic, but I did say like, oh, like this is not really what I expected. I said it just like that. That was kind of just my sense. Like it's a lot darker, I think, than I had thought it would be, because I was trying to really sensitively touch around it, which I know is silly because Tony is here to work for me and paint my house in the colour that I want. So why should I be tiptoeing around him? But I just didn't want to be that problem customer. And I just thought James is going to be so annoyed because we spent so long picking paint. He's just gonna just hate me. So Tony says, come with me. And he takes me back out to the back of the house. And I don't know if you recall, but if you saw our video where we were picking our paint colour, we did a massive swatch on the side of the house, and he pointed to a section of that. And this section was actually new paint. He had painted our 30 litres of colour match Dix Blue paint in Johnston's external masonry. He'd painted a section of it next to the big swatch I'd done on the side of the house, and it had dried and it definitely was a shade or two darker. And he was like, it is darker. And I was just like, oh my goodness. I was like, I don't want it. That kind of gave me the release and the confidence to say, this is not really what I wanted. So Tony was like, of course you don't. It's your house, you've got to look at it, you need to be happy with it, and you don't want to turn around at the end of this and think, this is just not what I want my house to look like. So I said to him, I need to speak to James, I need James to see it. James was actually upstairs also on a call at the time, so I just texted him to say, can you come down when you're off your call? And he came down and I said, I'm really sorry, but it doesn't look right. So James came out front and he also looked at it and he said, I agree with you, I don't like it. And oh my God, the relief, because if at least James agreed with me, I didn't feel so bad anymore. And then Tony went on to explain that, well, actually, let me go back first of all. Some of you will have been around for a while and will have seen this whole process unfold, and unfold. And you will have seen possibly the video called The Biggest Decision We'll Make, which was about picking this final colour and all of like the conundrums we had around it. And I really felt like I did my due diligence. So we have used Farrow & Ball paint throughout the house. Lots of people get colour match, and that's cool. Like it's just not something we've done. And I believe that colour matches look amazing. As I said, it's just not something that I personally have done. But for the external of the house, obviously huge project, 10K plus project, and essentially we were looking where we could to save a little bit of money because of the overwhelming cost of the whole project. And one of the ways we could do this was with the paint. So to give you kind of just a bit of an idea, I think 30 litres of the colour match paint that we got from Brewers, it was Johnston's external masonry, and we got it in colour match Dix Blue from Farrow & Ball. I think that was 120 or 180 pounds. I can't quite remember which of the two, but still, it was under £200 for 30 litres. 30 litres of the Farrow & Ball Dix Blue paint was essentially about £600. So it was a significant difference. Not a significant amount of money when you compare it to the overall cost that we were spending on this work in general. Sometimes I think there is an element of thinking, in the big scheme of things, this is quite a small cost in comparison to like the rest of the project. But as I'm sure you can appreciate, really expensive project. We are not millionaires. We did want to try and save some money somewhere, and actually when we did start this project, I was still kind of redundant at that point. So I didn't have a job. So we definitely needed to think about how we could cut some costs where possible. And that was one of them. And I feel like I really did my due diligence, because there was a couple of colours we were looking at that we got colour matched, and we got them colour matched from different stores in the same paint, different Farrow & Ball colours, and then we used the actual Farrow & Ball testers to test alongside our colour matches as well. And we painted really big sections around the outside of the house, so I really felt like I got a good sense for the paint. I was able to like qualify that actually, do you know what? There was no difference. I mean, if there was, it was like not possible to see from the naked eye. It was really interchangeable. You wouldn't have been able to pick out that one was a colour match versus the Farrow & Ball. And so I was really, really impressed. And I was kind of like, well, why have we been using Farrow & Ball paint all this time? We could have just been spending less money and getting a colour match. So yeah, so that's why we went with it, because we'd done all of that due diligence. I really had checked, because that was my biggest concern around the paint colour, was that not only was I possibly not going to like it once it was up, but the worse than that it wasn't going to be right because it was colour matched. So I really had tried to do my homework. So the fact that it then still looked terrible was like, what? So Tony explained to us that actually it's mixed up the tester in emulsion, not the external masonry, which part of me feels like I might have known that, but what I didn't know was apparently when it gets mixed up into external masonry, it changes colour again, which is why we were seeing this kind of colour difference. And essentially brewers should have told us this. Now, neither James nor I recall this being ever explained to us. We definitely shared it with the people that we purchased the tester paints through at brewers. We bought them, as I said, from separate brewers' stores. And yeah, neither of us recall this ever being told to us. So yeah, bit of a pain. And as you might be aware also, if you've had a paint colour matched, you're not getting a refund if you decide you don't like it. However, because we were able to prove that they were really significantly different colours, and obviously we were, I guess, claiming that nobody told us that that would be the case, they did actually eventually, after quite a bit of persuasion, they did eventually actually refund us for that paint, which, you know, again, in the big scheme of things, not huge amounts, but anything you can claw back when you know you're going to have to go and buy the actual Farrow & Ball paint and 30 litres worth of it, the better. We were going to buy our Farrow & Ball paint through brewers as well, but actually still can't get a refund. So by this point, we were kind of thinking, well, what if we buy the Dick's Blue paint and then when we get it up there we still don't really like it, even though it might be the right colour at that point? So we ummed and ahed, and James was just like, it's too big a risk, because brewers have to order it in. They still can't give you a refund, because obviously a bit niche, I guess, external masonry paint in Dick's Blue. So we actually ended up ordering directly from Farrow & Ball, because even if we opened up one tin of paint and put it on the outside and decided actually this is not for us and we need to go back to basics and rethink this whole paint colour, at least we would have been able to get a refund on the rest of the pots. So yeah, that's what happened with our outside. We bought the wrong paint, basically, and it's a costly mistake, but if you can nip it in the bud quickly, which we did, I think, you know, it makes sense to be happy with your final selection, because this is not something you're probably going to be repainting again. Definitely not something I'm planning on changing colour with anytime soon. I don't think I will have inserted any pictures or videos to share of this, which I'm really sorry if I've not been able to do that. I did take a few pictures and I had a couple of little clips, but I filmed them on my phone, and sadly, a couple of weeks ago, I fell over, smashed my phone, lost all of my videos and pictures on my phone from the last year because I hadn't realized that my cloud was full and it wasn't backing up. So I'm really sorry, I don't have anything possibly to share with you on that. But if I'm honest, even the pictures and footage that I shared didn't really, you would not have been able to see what we were talking about. I think you kind of had to, it was a you have to be here scenario. But now I've kind of shared that, I will run through the different bits and pieces that I've picked up. So these are bits and pieces that I've picked up kind of just randomly over a couple of different weeks, and also the things that I purchased from the Hidden Hut, which obviously you saw earlier in this video. So I'm going to kick off first of all with probably some of the first bits and pieces I bought. So I went to a beautiful independent store here that I might have mentioned on this channel before, which is in Tunbridge Wells itself, called the Green Duck. They've actually just moved premises, so now they have a lovely beautiful cafe in the what was the shop previously, and they now have a 3-story building across the road from that, which has now the shop. I think it's got an Annie Sloan kind of chalk paint workshop on the middle floor, and then I think it's going to be a dance studio because one of the owners is a choreographer on the top floor. But I picked up, for those of you that are still looking to do a little bit of gardening before the season is over, I bought up these beautiful kind of galvanized steel style pots. They look kind of quite vintage and quite rustic. I've actually got a third one of these. I've got 2 in this kind of size and just 1 in the smaller size. And in this size one, I've currently got my rosemary plant, and that actually sits out on one of my tables on our patio, which I think you'll be able to see in an upcoming video, and it just looks really, really beautiful. As I said, it's got a really rustic and vintage look to it. And I think I paid like £5 and £7 for these. Yeah, the smaller one was £5 and I think the larger ones was £7. And yeah, I'd love to buy some more, to be fair. I really want to find a place to get some of those gorgeous like terracotta but like rustic pots. I think Sarah Raven does some, but I was still kind of also trying to look around to see who else might, and that was kind of the vibe I was going with those as well. Then I picked up something from another really small business here in Tunbridge Wells. So, sorry, I've got all my stuff down here, so it's like a reaching down to get. I've actually not opened it. I'm telling you now, I ordered this months ago, June I got this. And I bought this from a business called the Haynes Collection, and the Haynes Collection is a sustainable fabrics brand. They basically save fabric, designer fabrics, everything that they sell to essentially save it going to landfill, which is an amazing idea. But in addition to that, they now also have kind of an online shop, and they do certain kind of like seasonal drops of new products as well. And this was from one of those seasonal drops. I had planned to do this as an unboxing video, but as you can imagine, seeing as it has been many moons since since I got these things and until I'm filming this, most things have been got out, but this is one that wasn't. So you will see my overall reaction, because I've not seen this in real life. I bought this online, and she very lovely delivered it to me as well. It is a little fabric basket for kind of your dining room table or your breakfast table, and you could have pastries in it or jacket potatoes, and yeah, I love it. It's a bit like flimsier than I think I had anticipated, but that makes sense. So yeah, you can see there, it's got this beautiful green print, so I thought it would go really nicely in here. And I just thought great for if we've got guest staying and we get pastries from our local bakery, that we can kind of put them in here. Or yeah, as she said about different ways you could use it, jacket potatoes over kind of the next autumn season. But yeah, I thought this was just beautiful, and I can't wait to use it. And I'm so glad I've now opened it up, because I've literally not opened it up for 2 months. So yeah, could have used it this weekend when we had friends over, but no, I've saved it for now. And she's got she's put a personal little note in here, and actually, oh, you can see how she's used it there with the pastries in. So I thought that was lovely, and actually I think I love it more in real life. I've got a bit of a showstopper for the end of this, so I do hope you stay tuned, because one of these things is my absolute ultimate favourite item, and I'm so excited that I bought it and so pleased with it. And it's a new shop find for me, and it's an online store that delivers, so I think you'll be interested. Next up is a soap company that actually I've purchased from before. They're called the Stone Street Soap House, and they're also based in Kent. They are based in, I think it's Cranbrook in Kent, and yes, they have 2 different fragrances that they use. This one is Geronimo, which is kind of a summer wildflower meadow scent, and then they've got one called Hey Ho, which I think essentially is what it says on the tin. I've had Hey Ho before. This was Hey Ho in the green. But this time I bought both the hand soap and the moisturiser cream, and I think the hand soap was £16 and the moisturiser was £18. And I really love the aesthetic of this by my sink in my kitchen. I think it's really, really lovely. And yeah, not cheap, but as I said, it's an independent brand, and actually the hand soap has lasted me for ages, and the moisturiser, if you're anything like me, I don't actually often use it, so that really does last ages. So that's something I really love, and yeah, it looks beautiful on my by my sink in my kitchen. Oh, I should also say, I think my bread basket thing, I think that was about £12, I think. Next up are my items from the old hidden hut, which you saw in this video. I've actually been back another time since then, so I'm going to include a couple of bits and pieces that I bought from that time as well. But first of all, on my first trip, I purchased this set of matches. I actually just thought the design on the box was really, really beautiful and would just look really elegant actually in any of the rooms in this house. I've bought this primarily for our living room, but I very possibly will get another one for in here in the dining room as well. I just think it's beautiful. It's like a greenhouse with like cloches and like pots and flowers. It's just so, so beautiful. So they are luxury safety matches, and I could not tell you how much I couldn't tell you how much they were, if I'm honest. I think in total my whole kind of purchase was about £29. So that would have been including this, and also including, you can see them behind me, I have my candles. I love kind of dinner candles, so I just got some kind of cream ivory kind of ones, and then I have a couple of really soft rose pink ones. I might even still have, yes, I have one of my rose pink ones here, so you can see what I'm talking about. So yeah, so this is part of my purchase, nothing wild, but you know, just still a nice something. And as I said, it's like this really soft rose kind of colour candle. So yeah, they will come into handy. They'll come into use. And then the final thing I bought from the Hidden Hut, again, something that I should have been using already, and I haven't. I've really held off. But as I said, all these things, the 6 candles. I bought 4 of the cream and 2 of the like the rose colour. And then this item all came to about £29, but I'm just not sure what the individual prices were. So then I also bought this, which is this lovely English rose linen water. So I have an awful habit, particularly in the winter, of my clothes drying too much, obviously with the heating on. And then sometimes there are certain items of my clothing that, despite the ironing, doesn't really get the creases out. So I've been wanting to get some rose linen water like this, so I can use this to kind of spray on. Probably just need to get some kind of spritzer. Use in spray or for irons using basic tap water. So does that mean that maybe I might have to dilute it? I'm not sure. She said that she just uses it for her utility room and she just likes how it looks in there, but I don't have a utility room, so I'm not sure I'm really going to put this on display. But it is a really lovely, simple bottle that would look great on a really rustic wooden shelf in a utility room. But yeah, those are the things I picked up from the Hidden Hut the first time, and then the second time I picked up a couple of other little bits and pieces. Now sadly I definitely can't tell you the prices of these because I just honestly don't recall, but it wasn't very expensive. I probably spent no more than £20 perhaps. First of all, I picked up this kind of marble kind of stone dish. They had loads of these in varying different sizes, but I really loved this for having by my kitchen sink. I've wanted to get either like a marble slab or something, maybe to put my hand soaps on or to put dishcloths on, that kind of thing. And I saw this and I thought this was a kind of nice idea instead. And actually at the moment I've been using it with this, which I also picked up from her. I've been using this as like a pot scrubber, so I'm assuming that's what that is, but there might be a myriad of ways you could use this. But yeah, essentially I have that by my sink tap on the other side from my hand soaps. The only thing I need now is some kind of more reusable cloth or something that would go in here, because my kind of like bright green disposable sponges just don't quite fit the aesthetic of this. But yeah, this really wasn't too expensive. I was really impressed with this. And then also I got, and you'll have to forgive me because actually it's been hanging up in my kitchen, so I've been using this for the last couple of days, but I also got this really lovely linen tea towel as well. You can get this kind of stuff in a few places at the moment, and I have actually picked some a bit similar up from H&M Home, which I have coming up in a future video, I think. But yeah, I bought this. Again, I'm really sorry, I can't tell you how much I spent on these things. I honestly don't really recall. I think we're down to the final item. So the final item, as I said, is a bit of a showstopper. It's the thing I was most pleased about. I had a bit of a vision, so I bought a vase quite some time ago in the Next sale. It was a complete impromptu purchase, quite mid-century modern. It's blue, it's glass, it's kind of transparent as well, and it's a really cool vase that I actually bought initially for our living room, and it may still end up in there at some point throughout the year, but maybe not all year round. And I had it in my head that I wanted to get some kind of berry branches to go in it. And I'd been looking at some in ochre, but I think they were like 20 something pounds per branch. So, or maybe even more, maybe 35 pounds. It was expensive. And obviously I had, at this point when I had this epiphany, I had just been put on furlough, and I kind of knew that I was probably going to eventually be made redundant, so just didn't make sense to be being that frivolous at that point in time. And yeah, recently I stumbled upon a beautiful online shop called Wild Home. That's spelled W-Y-L-D. I think they're based up somewhere maybe in Yorkshire or somewhere. Forgive me, Wild Home, if that is incorrect. It's nowhere near here basically. And yeah, they do a lot of kind of like Abigail Ahern faux flowers and what have you. But I have to say, I just felt like they had such an incredible range of like faux bouquets and faux flowers. And to be honest, I'm not actually a huge fan of faux flowers typically. But obviously with the branches, or the berries, I did need them to be fake because I obviously want them to last a long time. So I found Wild Home, and as I said, I just think they do some incredible quality faux flowers. They also do bouquets that they make up, and then they've also got a whole host of other really quirky items, homeware items that there's a few bits on my wish list that I'm desperate for. But yeah, they were a really good find for me, and they're actually a store that I've not purchased anything else from yet, but they're a store that I keep on going back to and looking at their stock. So I really do recommend them. I think they're a real worthwhile look if you're into kind of quirky items, and also if you're also looking for something like I was as well. These are such good quality. James thought they were real. He actually like asked me like what was the point, because like won't they just like go off, and I was like, no. And my sister, who is very good with stuff like this, thought that they were dried rather than fake. So yeah, I will show you them now. I will try and insert a clip for sure as well of them in place, but these are them, and I'll get a bit of a close-up as well. So you can see once you're really close up that they are faux, but I just think they're beautiful. And yeah, I have these in the kitchen. They sit in this blue vase against our beautiful wall of tiles, if you're familiar with our kitchen, and they just look really, really striking. They look really sophisticated and they really make a statement. They're just beautiful. And actually she also dropped me a beautiful little handwritten note as well to say thank you for the order, which I love it when shops do that. I think that wraps up my kind of independent homeware haul, collective haul, whatever you want to call it. Thanks for sticking with me. Again, a bit of a random mix of video content here. As I said, I think there's only about one more video that it will be a little bit more muddled than usual, and then we'll be back to normal. But yes, thanks for joining me today. I hope you guys are all well, and I look forward to seeing you next time.